Welcome. Today's conversation is for agents who are producing at a high level and wondering what their next chapter looks like. My guest built a solo business, transitioned into team leadership, and eventually got fully out of production. We're not discussing models or systems today. We're examining the decision to build or stay solo. Anna Powell, welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm so pumped to be here. Thanks so much for having this platform.
It's great to have you. So let's give the audience an idea of what your team looks like.
Yeah, it's kind of wild because I actually was on a Zoom call earlier today talking about Anna in 2021 who was like, I never want a team. So, haha, very funny. But I have a team of there's 47 of us total on the spreadsheet. 35 of them are here in the Triangle area, but we've used our internal team system to expand into some other markets that we had great agent connections with. So we have a team of 4 girls at the coast. They cover like Edenton all the way down to Wilmington. I have a gal in the mountains of North Carolina. We have our first luxury listing going live as soon as the snow gets out of here in Sugar Mountain. And then we've just brought on our first partner in Charlotte, which is our next place we want to spend some time and focus. So we're a little bit all over the place, a little non-conventional, but there's about, there's 47 of us all together.
That's incredible.
Thank you.
Congratulations. And now I understand. I think everybody will understand why you're not in production anymore.
Yeah,
Well,
that's
what to
it's
do.
a full-time job. It's a full-time job. Actually, and it's funny because I was fully out 24, 25. And then this year, just with like the market shift, I did kind of want to be relevant. I always feel like completely out of production is hard. I get to now this year choose to do a couple of transactions here and there just to be able to kind of re-examine some of those feelings and emotions that go through transactions so that I can be a better coach. So I am really proud of myself. I've sold 2 homes this year. And my team calls it Anna out in the wild. Like I was at a house, like my Sentry lockbox like didn't work. So I had to like call someone and be like, can someone let me in this house? I can't get in. So anyways, my team's also had a really good time with Anna in the wild for first
Yeah.
quarter of 2020.
That's funny. I have instant recall of the feelings and the emotions that come with this
Yeah. It doesn't
business.
take much to remember all the high emotions that run with this thing. So
Yeah.
I was relevant again pretty quickly.
That's smart. So you were selling 10, 12 million when you were solo.
Yeah.
So at what point did you realize solo production was no longer the right long term?
I had a very vivid moment, and I'm like looking over to my left because in my office, I have my whiteboard of my houses that I checked off that year. There's 55 of them up there. And I did hire a coordinator like towards the end of that year. So I had a little bit of help, but most of it all me. I had just had our twins. So this was like 5 years ago. They just turned 5 January, like literally January 29th. So we're in the like 30-day window of where I was in a house showing a week after I delivered the twins and thinking, there's no way. Like this doesn't scale. This doesn't work. If I electively have something going on, I have to say no because I have to work. If something that I need to do shows up, I have to say no because I have to work. And then my fear became, well, what if, in that time I was having medical, complications from a delivery. Like what happens if something later down the road pops up that I have no control over? This just doesn't work. Like being on my own does not work. I did not know how to fix it at that point, but I did know in that house when I could not climb the stairs and should not have been driving a car, I was like, this is not going to be the rest of your life. You're going to figure this out and you're going to figure it out faster than the rest of your friends. You're going to figure this out quicker. So that was the big moment.
That is good reasoning and strong influence for sure.
Yeah.
That's incredible that you actually did that soon after giving birth. Good for you.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I mean, I was a sole breadwinner. Like every agent, I think, can have a different path in real estate. There's a lot of different ways to do real estate. And we all have seasons in our life where it comes easier, it comes harder. And I'm very aware of that, especially with my team members. But like, I didn't have the ability to step back. I was the sole breadwinner for our family. My husband had stepped out of outside sales for me to do real estate at a high level. So like, yeah, it sounds really admirable, but like at the time, it was just like, this is what I do to feed my family. This is my job. I don't have another option. But I think that is even why I was more passionate about figuring out a way around it because they were depending on me. But what happens if something out of my control took me out of that position? And it terrified me because I realized how screwed they were going to be. And I didn't want that for them.
What did you underestimate with the switch and building the team?
I underestimated the thing that I think most trades and skills, we don't understand how much leadership is involved. We're really good real estate agents. And thankfully, I think in the real estate space, it does take a lot of leadership skills to be in real estate at a high level because of our job descriptions and the way that we work with clients. But I did not realize how deficient I was in the leadership department. High achiever, yes. Really good at my job, yes. And very people focused, yes. But I didn't have the skill sets to really lead early on, and I had to catch up with that really quickly.
How do you,
When
how
you're
do you
good at something and a high performer, you get deemed a leader a lot in your life. But the reality is like there's a whole level of things that you don't know about leadership until you really go in and start to study and learn yourself.
yeah, describe what leadership means to you.
Yeah, I think for me, leadership is, well, leadership is being able to always shut down short-term discomfort for long-term gain. I say that all the time. We can't make, short-term decisions on long-term things that we need to focus on. So for me, it was learning that delayed gratification, controlling dopamine hits in my brain. And that's hard because when you've been in real estate, you've been on basically an entire lifespan of just being a dopamine addict. So I had to learn to shut that down, but work in the same space. So that one was really big. And then I learned that I really had to understand where are my strengths, where are my weaknesses, and then enable and empower people to lead alongside of me instead of just looking to me for everything. So we do that by helping our people really tap into leadership skills early.
That's a when you are truly building a business as opposed to being a transaction, doing your own work, doing the transactions. Now you're building a business, and there's a whole nother slew of decisions that have to be made.
And the thing about real estate is this is what makes this so difficult. You are the marketing department, you're the HR department, you're the sales division, you are the systems and operation, like you're everything. And so when you go into team leadership, there's a place where you're like, well, I've done all these things just for me. I can do it for all the other people too. And I think that's why you see a lot of burnout. You see people all the time just tearing teams down, starting over, because we are very highly capable. I think all real estate agents are just very naturally like they're high achievers, but it doesn't translate into leadership all the time. Capable, yes. High capacity, yes. Leadership, not always. So you really do have to buckle down.
And in leadership in real estate, there are three things they always talk about. It's recruit, retain, and train. How did you switch roles to get into that? How is that transition?
Yeah. How's the transition still going, Joe? Is that what you're
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So the training component is, I think, where a lot of people struggle. And that's where, if you've not read Who Not How, it's really important you go pick up that book. If you're in the process of trying to build anything, go pick up Who Not How. I learned that I needed a broader network for effective training because I didn't want to create 30 Annas because Anna doesn't work for everybody in the marketplace. I wanted to build a robust team that would be accepted widely by buyers and sellers across the marketplace, not just continuing to replicate what I do. So for us, like we have general principles that we put through our onboarding, but we very much rely on outside partners of ours to help with new agent training, with our weekly masterminds, things like that. So we're really good about plugging our people into environments that are not just ours. Then they bring us back things too that we didn't know. That's that layered leadership component. The retaining thing we do really well. We and things like that. So most of our agents, I have 5 team leaders, micro team leaders here in the Triangle. Any of them would be very successful solo agents. But I don't think that their profit margins would be the same as what they are sitting on the team. So we just look at that really regularly and say, put a statue up. Like I've
Right.
done something amazing. 20 is the gold standard. I don't think it's possible these days. We don't even have paid lead services. So we have at the top of our commission is very whole all the way through. And it's still hard to find months where there's 20% profitability. So most of our agents are running on a 68 to 70% for those that are all self-procured, like business model, but we carry a lot of the overhead for them. So that certainly helps. And then recruiting, I've been very blessed. Our people have always just brought we've never had to be like, we're hiring, come let me meet a stranger in my office, because I think of opportunities like the one you're giving me today, where I can tell people our culture and who we are and what we do. We tend to just kind of attract people that are like, that's what I'm looking for. So that's how we've grown. I'm a terrible recruiter. I'm a terrible.
A great job right now.
But if I was working for, a traditional brick and mortar, like literally, if I was employed as a recruiter, my numbers they would have fired me years ago. So we've done really well attracting the right people. That's helped with retention. So then that keeps you from having to constantly barrel through and just find new pulses, if you will. to join your organization. Our culture is too important for us to do that.
Well, by not being a recruiter, and I've been one for multiple years, I got to grow my company. You're focused on who's the right match, who's the right person, and they're coming to you naturally. That's
Right.
a big difference, and that's the ideal situation for any company to be an attractor, not a recruiter.
Yeah, it
And
seems so counterproductive, but I think one of the best things you can do when you're first getting started is take the focus off the profit and take the focus off big growth as the, mark of success. I think the slow growth and not putting the focus on profitability early is what gave us really strong legs underneath us, and now we're able to run a lot faster.
right, right. So a lot of agents think that there's more profit, there's more money in scaling and more time freedom. What's the reality behind that? When did you find that there were actually more constraints on that?
Yeah. I mean, there's always trade-offs, right? So for me, when I was an agent, and I'm sure agents watching this are gonna be like, yep, you're right. Like 6 o'clock, your phone is blowing up if you're a busy agent because your clients are getting off work. It's time for them to kind of start nestling into like their personal lives. And so I would spend, in fact, I was just joking about like how I was cooking dinner 5 nights this week at home, which is not what I used to look like. It was DoorDash on the door, like who
Yeah.
needed a kitchen? Because I was on the phone with clients all evening, right? My prime hour with my kids that I hadn't seen all day. I would say for a while, that shifted into agent conversations, which gave me more freedom because my agents can tolerate me, hollering at a kid or
Right.
multitasking. And so that was a really big lift. I remember when my phone calls in the evenings were our agents and not our clients. And now I've built systems and processes around being readily available during the day. So and it's taken the right people, but I have gotten kind of nights and weekends back, which is what was a huge blessing for me because I wanted that time with my kids. But in exchange, you're taking high risk every single month. There are months where there's not enough income to pay the bills. So now you're looking at dipping into savings. There's a lot of like trade off to that, but that for me was really important. I believe that rich people are very focused on money. I think wealthy people value time. And so that was the big shift, I think, was realizing that my time, because my dollar per hour rate had gotten high, was really what I needed to start prioritizing. So getting some of those moments to breathe and reflect and be present with my family allows me to be a much better leader because I'm not just strewn out all day from just being reactive all the time. And so I'm protecting energy a lot more. That's probably been my biggest thing. But profitability, no, it's not a cash cow. And it's a lot of sleepless nights making sure you can make payroll and pay for buildings and do the things that everyone's expecting of you.
Yeah, I think that's something that agents overlook, right? They think they have other means, other people bringing them money, and I'm not going to have to do all the work. I'm going to have other people's money coming at me, and things are going to be great.
Yeah,
It's still a cyclical business. It still goes up and down. You can't help that. You have market wins that you can't control.
correct.
So yeah, so it's really
Yeah, it's on a bigger scale. And again, there are absolutely months where time as an input, I could have gone and sold 3 or 4 houses and in my price point and, had a very similar month with a lot less overhead. But there are like I wouldn't be expanding into a new market with that. Like I wouldn't have what really I think fuels us here, like the excitement of seeing other people's lives change. I mean, you see that in your clients, but I was literally, and I don't know, he may can even hear me. I was just listening to my client, one of our agents say, like, we're coming out of survival time. Like we're getting into the season of more. And like I didn't even stop him from saying it. He was on the phone, but like that's it. Like that's it for me. You know what I mean? That's my new first time home buyer, like finally finding the house, like hearing an agent say we're moving into our season of more. It makes it worth it. So it's very parallel to real estate. Your clients are now just agents instead of your buyers themselves.
now. Do you find that you have time to find sources of income in other ways other than just the transactions?
Yeah, absolutely. And we are very big on encouraging our agents to do that. We have an event coming up in a couple weeks where like the prime focus is agent wealth building. We have so much opportunities as investors to go out there and create opportunities for ourselves. So we're big on that. We're huge on getting our agents to set up their S corps, their LLCs, to make sure that they're set up fiscally so that they're hanging on to as much money as possible, living before the tax dollar, right? So we teach our agents to go pay their children throughout the week. And then as far as just like additional, revenue sources for me, like we've set up a mortgage partnership. We setting up titles. So we're working in those ancillary spaces where we already have some influence, just to create some more opportunities, just to give yourself a little bit more breathing room, because every agent will tell you commission compression is real right now. So we're
Yeah, absolutely.
more volume, less dollars, right? It's
Yeah.
happening.
So you're known for your systems. I know you're using AI. I've seen you speak on that. And which came first for you when on the scaling side? Is it the systems and processes to scale, or was it the other way around? Did you have
Yeah.
like which comes first, chicken or the
That's
egg?
a great question. For most people, you'll add systems first and then you'll count it as scaling. And I did that as well. I went to a conference in the beginning of 2022, honestly, probably about, 4 years from right now. I was in San Diego. I heard an agent in California speak. He had a team doing, 700 million in volume that year, that previous year in 21, which was a great year. And all of a sudden, I realized the whole business was systems and processes, because this guy's personality he was not a personality seller. He'd scaled everything on systems. So I mimicked a lot of those systems. I just started putting systems in place. But for a long time, I just built something. Any little hiccup, I built something. Then my value and, in all fairness, a lot of profitability started going into the systems and the tech and the value adds. And then in the last year, I've really focused on the concept of scaling and understanding that scaling is not addition, scaling is subtraction. You can only scale if you're simple and easy to understand. And so that actually caused us to start reevaluating some of our tech, some of our systems, and saying, is it too complicated? And is it causing friction or is it reducing friction? And if it's not reducing friction, we don't need it in our business, because we're so accustomed to building things that are better in our business. But what I'd challenge anyone watching this to reframe is, you should just be building a business where better becomes inevitable. And inevitable happens when you subtract stuff, not when you add things.
Right.
So I had to learn the hard way. I did it the wrong way, but maybe take my word for it and say, I only want to build systems if it helps me to scale, which is truly actually simplifying things. You don't build to build.
Good point. You say we a lot, and you also said it's the who, not the how. What's your leadership team look like?
Yeah, I have Haley. She's our team manager. Her second job description is just glue, because she just kind of will meld into whatever role she needs. I came up with EOS. I learned EOS, entrepreneur operating system. I understood the seats. I understood the buses. I understand all those concepts. For us, there are days where Haley has to get off the bus altogether and just lay in front of it to stop something bad from happening. So I got a little disillusioned with, like, we have to have these crystal clear job descriptions. We're very big on the working genius here. We're really big on organizational health. And so when we hire someone, we want to understand what their strengths are, what their weaknesses are. And instead of boxing them into a role, the organization doesn't look anything like it did 2 years ago. If she had the same, she would never have the same job description now. We have technology that's replaced half of our director of operations role. So we are very big on people, but not job descriptions and not seats. We're very big on what are the skill sets that you bring. So we have her, and then we have two transaction coordinators that pretty much run their own business within APRE. They are the ones that implemented all of our CSU when we moved over to CSU this past year. They do tons of marketing for our agents, but they are very self-sufficient department. Like, I don't need to micromanage. I'm in the channels in Slack where they're managing transactions, and I've watched these girls save deals before because
Nice.
they're just so knowledgeable. So we really let them operate, and they come to us if they have a problem, but we are not sitting there being like, we're your boss and this is what you're supposed to be doing, because they run a beautiful business and we're just thankful that we're their exclusive client.
That's great. You mentioned a couple of different things there. The creative mind. I forget what you said. Are you solely going and getting this education, or are you bringing your director of ops to it and working together?
Train whoever will come. So Working Genius, we have every single agent do the assessment when they onboard with us. Like, the second that they're committed to going into our onboarding, we spend $25 and we do their assessment, because it actually helps us understand how are they even going to onboard. It helps. It's better than a disc profile, much more in depth. But then, like, I was in Aspen 3 weeks ago, speaking at an event for our upline partners, and my 19-year-old agent on our team, who absolutely came out the gate, crushed it last year, 9 home sales in 25, which I think is amazing. I brought her with me because I want her to expand and to see the bigger rooms too. I think she's a little, like, panicked on how she was going to pay some of those food bills when we were in Aspen. So we're going to get it. But next time, like, when you're in our position, you're going to find someone, you're going to bring them, you're going to be that
Yeah.
expander. And then to see her sit in front of our team meeting and lead an exercise. It was a guide prompt that one of our partners had given us to kind of write an anthem for your life. To watch her like walk through that and share that with with our team, like those are the moments again that like all of it's so worth it. So we expose them to it, and we expect for them to also like explore and know who they are and know what they bring to the table, because it just makes life and work so much more fulfilling, I think.
It's just the way you speak about your agents and how you're treating them. They are people to you. They
Yeah.
are not numbers. You are not a numbers person. Let's get
Yeah.
bodies in here and let's crank. I
Yeah.
love that. That's
No,
powerful.
we're huge on layered leadership. So I was at, I've been at other brokerages where I had that leadership bug in me and I wanted to contribute and I wanted to be a part of it, but I didn't have ownership. But I still found myself oftentimes stepping up, right? Helping other agents, doing the things. And so I just believe that as team leaders, we need to create environments where they can do that without having to go rent the building, pay for the CRM, take the risk of the liabilities on the legal side of things. Like we should create opportunities for people to lead. It helps you keep your organization chart as far as paid staff a lot leaner. And I think you get better results because agents listen to other agents that are productive way more than they're going to listen to the admin in the office that hasn't sold real estate or has been years since they've sold real estate. That's why I had to go and sell a couple houses. I need to remind some people I can actually sell something.
Right.
I think that's a miss. Like and it's not like that I'm like, "Oh, my people will do whatever, for us," but for me, it's like they're gonna lead. If you put them in a position, leaders are gonna lead. I say it all the time. That's what we
That's
attract
right.
leaders. That's what we want, because leaders make great real estate agents.
Absolutely. So you mentioned 9 deals in the first year, which is incredible at 19 years old. You're not a lead gen house. How
No.
important is that not being a lead gen house to the whole structure of what you're doing?
It's so important because I can offer our agents, particularly our very productive agents, I can offer them an incredible split. I can absorb a lot of fees because I'm not having to take, let's just say 40% off the top of every transaction to hand them a contact. So profitability wise, it's given us a lot of ability. The second thing there is that I believe that I'm teaching agents, and this comes from having an abundant mindset. I'm teaching them that they can have an independent business. I'm not your mama bird that's feeding you your leads. That makes my job much more enjoyable. The second piece to that is for them, I feel like a lot of them choose to stay here because the mindset coaching is good, the relationships are good, the opportunities are good, the brand is good. They're not here because they don't have another option. They're not renting their business. They own their businesses and they will always own that book of business. And yes, they help me with my book of business as well. And we have a mutual understanding of what's Anna's book of business, what's mine. And it's just been a really healthy environment for us to all grow together. It was a very safe place for me to grow as a team leader, to not have that angst of, well, should I introduce this person to this person? Because maybe they won't call me next time they want to list their house, because we understand that we're all working together. It is a really healthy environment. It was a very lucky position for me as a leader to get to learn to lead in, because I didn't have to ever worry about, feeding my family, just like they don't have to worry about feeding theirs because they have the capability to do it themselves. They don't need me to turn off a lever and stop lead flow.
When you were making that decision to get out of production, what had to be in place? How did you know that was gonna be viable?
Yeah. I just did this conversation earlier today, so it's going to sound very rehearsed, but my mom passed away in the fall of 22. And, we all think that we need this like perfectly cleared runway. And if we get that opportunity, then we're going to thrive. The sad reality is that like most of the time we just squander that opportunity and we hardly ever do anything because there's not enough pressure to get you to perform. So when my mom passed away in the fall of 22, I didn't have an option. I couldn't carry a conversation with a seller who didn't want to replace 2 windows. I was not relatable. Their problems were so small and insignificant to me. I had a hard time advising. And so I just watched, and it's such a blessing. And it sounds so morbid to say my mom's passing was a blessing. It was the hardest thing in my life.
Yeah.
But I got to watch at the time about 8 individuals just show me that they could do it without me. And that in reality, I was probably bottlenecking a lot more stuff than I realized.
Right.
And when I got out of the way, what I learned there was, well, if they can unite under a crisis or a really bad thing that's happened, if we build really good culture on the backside of this, and that's where I got really into organizational health. If we build core values and a vision statement and a 10-year big, hairy, audacious goal and all the things that we can all get in the boat and agree to, they can operate like this without it being something sad or chaotic or life or death. And to see that was really where I felt like we were able to say this is possible, you know? But it was not in the clean it's not in this like clean runway of like I'm stepping out of production now all my time is now focused. Like I stepped out of production out of necessity and then I saw the good that came from it, so I chose to stay there.
Nice. That's great. Not I mean, yeah, same
I
thing.
know it's hard. It's
Everything
so
has a
hard.
silver lining, right?
It's hard for me to say too, but I think that is like I truly do believe all things work together for good. And like I know there's a reason for everything. And that is one of those like beautiful byproducts of that season of my life, you know? And
Absolutely.
you've got it, right? So it's the good that came from
So,
it.
to close this out, I wanted to ask one question. So, what is somebody's at the crossroads, they're trying to make a decision, they wanna do something. What is the one question they need to ask themselves to help define what their next move is?
Yeah. Are you ready to take all of the hustle culture, all of the I'll just do it myself, I do it better than anyone else, all the things that made you a really good real estate agent?
Yeah,
Are you ready to take all of that down very, 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 very low and start to just live in constant discomfort and an insecurity of do you know what to do? And if you are, is it because you are so vested in having an impact on more people than just yourself? Because the reality is even if I were doing 55, 130 home sales by myself a year, I'm making way more impact today because I'm able to share with a group that's sharing now with 300 and 400 families a year. So if you're willing to dial that down in exchange for discomfort, but you understand that the trade off for the discomfort is higher impact, that's it. That's the formula. That's all you need to understand.
that's
If
cool.
that's not what drives you, and that's okay if that's not what drives you, there's plenty of other ways to plug in and build additional income streams and be influential and do things without necessarily having to lead a team. So again, it's not to say like I think we have to get rid of this. That like the only step up or the only promotion in real estate is team leader or brokerage owner. We have to squash that. Like it's not right for everybody. But I want to challenge you to not be the girl that has to show the house the week after you deliver twins because you don't have any of that in place, right? I don't want that for you. I'm not saying you have to be me. I'm just saying don't be me 5 years ago.
Right. This is awesome, Anna. Thank you so much
Good.
for coming on. How can people tap into your insight and energy?
Yeah. Yeah. We're all over the place. I mean, obviously, like, would love a follow on Instagram. I post pretty much every day, and a lot of that does end up being mindset work because that's what's on my heart most of the day. We have a Facebook group. If you want to add me on Facebook, we have a Facebook group called Agents Empowered. You can also look us up. It's completely like brokerage. What do you call it when you're
Agnostic.
non-denominational? Like, yeah, we're brokerage agnostic. Like,
That's good.
you can go onto our YouTube page, Agents Empowered. You can see all of our past recordings if you kind of want to get a taste for like what we do. Much like you, this clock starts ticking after 30 minutes on Wednesday morning, and I'm like, cut it. Like, no one
Yeah,
wants to spend that kind of time. But it's tactical, it's mindset driven, but it's also just a really great community. So we encourage you to be part of that. And if you're in the Triangle area or North Carolina abroad and you're looking maybe for, some more support in your real estate business, I'm always an open book. Like, please, like, shoot me a message. Like, my husband will tell you, I'll stop dinner and call you because I'd love to talk to you about, what you're doing and how I might can help. So that's my working genius. So just call me.
outstanding. Thank you so much, Anna. Press
Thank you.
subscribe, viewers, and stay tuned. We have awesome guests like Anna on every week.